Start the show. Let's do it all over again.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's a brand new day.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Science! Now prepare to experience the most outrageous man on radio.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
Good morning.
This is insane.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road. It's the best. New, real, cool.
The station for more fun in the sun.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone out there. And you backstage.
Okay.
And yes, Laughing Girl, thank you as always. I got some things out of order, I think, in that intro, but it's the same old thing. It's the title of the show. Every day, it's the same old thing. Variety is the spice of life, my friends. So, yeah, I'm not wearing any particular hat, clothing, or anything, weird. My hat, But just to give you an idea about this thing, you could just crumble this thing up, It's a nice rain hat, I guess. All that kind of jazz. Let's put it back here. Can't see it anyway. Every day it's the same old thing. That's what I was thinking right before I walked into the studio. As I grabbed my coffee or was doing something along that line. The repetitiveness of nature. Sometimes I refer to it as the cycles of life in a more positive and a scientific way. But, really, it's just the repetitive. It's wash, rinse, repeat. And, yeah, variety is the spice of life. And if you don't have variety, those cold shucks. Say same old thing every day, man. Same old thing. Same old thing. I mean, we might as well look at the weather, right?
The Weather Watch forecast.
All right. Let's see what we got here. It's 46 degrees. It's chilly willy out there. 48, but, no frost. No frost in the horizon. Today is Tuesday, I believe, 5:11 a.m. on the 3rd of May in the calendar year 2022 in the former United States. And it's a 40% chance of thunderstorms. The high's going to be 72 degrees if I didn't already say that. 61 overnight. And tomorrow, thunderstorms, 64, 48 overnight. Thursday, 70, 10% chance of nothing. I was like yesterday. It was a 10% chance of nothing. I went out. I did some yard cleanup and stuff. I don't know how I ended up gaining weight according to the scale. I mean, I don't know. I was tired. I was out there for 2 or 3 hours. Digging, cleaning, bagging stuff, garbage. 100% chance of rain Friday. Oh, joy. If I had 2.5 buckets or 1.5 buckets to throw out the window, attic window, a day ago or 2 days ago when it hardly rained, imagine what 100% chance of rain. And then Saturday, 70% chance of rain. Temperatures are still staying at night, not getting below 45 maybe on Saturday. But we're still, you're still 10 degrees pretty much above anything it would resemble frost. So I'm just opening up everything and hoping that the rodents don't eat my lettuce. I got these neat lettuce plants and kale plants and chard plants and all kinds of stuff popping up. Excuse me, doing good. Some stuff is ready to be picked. One good thing about nonstop rain is at least it just keeps washing it off. I don't know. Maybe keeps those things in their holes, right? They just run out real quick to go to the bird feeder. I guess I got to make the bird feeder the focus until I planted catnip yesterday. Anyway, let's get out of this.
The Weather Watch forecast.
Yeah, that's what that was. So I planted catnip yesterday.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
By the way, no chocolate or pure vanilla extract in my coffee. Just extra strong, extra hot, 100% Colombian coffee in the big can that I got from Aldi, like the wide can, right? Yeah, I'm wearing a Steelers cap, even though I don't really watch. I mean, there was a time when I used to, just because I used to hang out some places where there was one of the bars was pretty much, he considered it a sports bar. People who are no longer your friends, not because they did anything wrong or you did anything wrong, just because time and distance separated you, right? And you've lost touch. No, weird? But if you were there, they would still be your friend. Not a thing, right? And I don't even know the guy's last name necessarily. The one bartender guy I used to be really friends with. Or even if you know their name, you call them out of the blue. You haven't seen them in 12 years. It's like you were outside friends. It's like I was trying to talk to, say, a couple shows ago. When we used to be more of a society where we had different communities and social groups and stuff, that you would have your coworkers. You would have you might belong to a social club. You might go to frequent a bar. You might go to, even a church. You might go to whatever you did, you went, or go to a particular place. And you would become friendly with somebody even on a first name basis, and you would see them for several years, till the point that you would, if you ran to them on the street, you'd stop. Hey, how you doing, man? What are you doing here? Blah, 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 small talk, all that kind of jazz. But if you move away or something, man, that's gone. You're not going to call that person on the phone, right? But you would consider them like kind of a loose friend and, an acquaintance that was part of your social group in a sense. You know what I mean? Again, if you went to some place and they were there, even if they popped into a bar, they might sit down next to you and go, hey, I didn't know you came here. That kind of thing. It doesn't matter whatever your group is, and not a weird thing. I just say, just thinking about things. That's the kind of stuff I think of. It's stuff to talk about, right? But, I've had thousands of people that were casual, acquaintances, but I've also had hundreds of people who were very close friends because I moved around a lot. So you could, when you work at a place or you live in a city for a year, 2 or 3, out of a lifetime, and you travel, you could do that. If you lived and worked in a place for 3 years and you did that 10 times in 10 cities, right? Think about it. That's 3 years. That's only 30 years of your life if you did that, starting in college, sort of the people you knew in college. So at like 18, 30 years, 48 years old, you're in your 40s and you already, you see what I mean? The amount of people that, if you're a social being, a social animal, I had that one of my shirts I made, not this new batch, years, my other clothing line For one of my magazines, I had a character, social animal. Before social media. Real social, when we were really social, not this fake social stuff. But yeah, isn't that a weird thing? You know? So like people that were, you know, so you had all these degrees of friendship, you know, of social relationships, but yet you, because you moved on, right? I mean, if you even had a romantic relationship for 3 years, say lived with somebody for 3 years and then broke up or something like that. 3 years is a long time. That's a lot of dinners together, going places, sleeping together, making out, watching movies, and, you know, laughing together, being together. 3 years. It's a long time. What if you've done that 10 times? Right? I don't know. I might have, close to it. I mean, I was married twice, and I had at least a half dozen relationships that were fairly long term. You know, the loves of my life, so to speak. And then there's those people that you happen to run into and have these short, like just odd relationships, but it's almost like a missed opportunity or like fate. You know, like you found your soulmate and you knew it, but you were just passing through, or there was some, you know what I mean, something, and it's like, oh my God. And I've encountered, you know, I could tell stories about that too. I think you could have more than one soulmate, so to speak, or like kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like some kind of genetic, spiritual, genetic, total overall like match. You know, it's like two things that just automatically fit together. Not that any relationship you might have isn't good and solid and you don't meld with that person, so to speak. But there's something about certain individuals that you might encounter, and if you're lucky enough to. Some people are really lucky enough to. I've encountered a couple. I could think of one in particular. You know, the one I let go, but I never really let it happen. That, you know, when I was very young, who I met later on in life, and realized that, you know, she was like could have been was my soulmate, but she was married, had kids, husband, and stuff. I just ran into her through a friend one night in some bar. Like I say, I was a social animal, but I mean nothing crazy. I know I say that, and it's like you either understand the bar life or you don't understand the bar life. If you think the bar life is a bunch of drunks or something you've seen in a movie, then you don't know the bar life. This, you know, that I'm not talking about crowded clubs screaming over people, weird stuff, doing, you know, all kinds of shots of tequila and stuff like that. Not that that stuff doesn't occasionally happen, you know, but I mean, wouldn't happen. But generally speaking, no, bars as a social, just as a social gathering place. I remember like leaning against the wall with this girl that I had taken, I don't want to get into detail. I mean, not that she's watching or that anybody's watching, but, and I thought, man, this is just so natural. This is just right. You know, we were really meant for each other. And I just randomly, you know, I don't know. Long story, weird. End it before it gets any further. You might catch my drift. You might not. It doesn't matter. They call this game Klondike, right? Or solitaire. That's what I mostly. And I find myself playing solitaire a lot. I found a way using Fire TV. There's actually an app, you know, like the Amazon, if you have a smart TV or whatever, any kind of TV, you could probably do it on Roku. I mean, you could do it on your computer, because that's right. I took a screen capture to make this card, and I just messed with it. I put like the classic Tony Caravan iconic image where it says your move, if you can see that. If you're watching this on a big enough screen. That's the deck. And maybe I should. Maybe I should put out a deck of cards with that on it. That'd be another cool thing to do. I should look into that. But it's wash, rinse, repeat. Every day, it's the same old thing. Right? And so, yeah, I miss variety is the spice of life, because that's, like I said, the bar scene was just one example, that I off the top of my head. But I mean, there were other things, work situations at work, traveling, and like I say, other community type of activities, whatever your thing is. It doesn't have to revolve around a bar, or, it could revolve around, like I say, a community center or religious type of organization, a group, whatever. But your neighbors, your neighborhood. Some people are so big with their family. When I was young, we had a fairly big extended family that used to get together a lot in the summertime. My uncle had a swimming pool, he owned like the top of a mount, like a hill, kind of thing. Like, he was this very smart businessman when he was young. And he was like, just really, he was one of those people that got it at the time when you could, if you were smart, you could make it. A lot of people in the 50s, early 60s, there was such opportunity. Who bought land, built his house at the top of this hill that I guess nobody wanted and was probably really cheap. I'm just guessing at the time. And ended up selling it in lots, developments. And then he also had a company, I'm not going to name, like he had got involved in a couple of companies that he opened, and then one of them he franchised even, kind of. But he had this place at this top of this hill, and he had his own swimming pool and ranch-style house and big grounds and stuff. And, the family used to be like the thing to do on like a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that. So the family would all be getting together. It'd be a cookout. But I mean, it'd be extended family, like cousins. And that was just one side of the family. It wasn't even the other side of the family. And so some people have that. So they get together with their family and cousins and, do that fairly frequently and stuff. Or you just have a big social circle of friends. And I've gone through those stages too, where I've had, like I said that before. I've already threw a Halloween party, and I realized, you know what, I'm gonna rent a space for this because I'm gonna get like 200 people showing. And then we move, get jobs, things change, people move on, we move on, they move on, we all move on. Pain in my left side now. If it's not one thing, it's another, right? But, yeah, it's the same old thing. And so you try to mix it up, right? But like I say, the way that society's structured today, it's difficult for the average person. And it is almost in like a class system. You're pigeonholed by your age in one respect. You're pigeonholed by your financial ability, right? And then you're pigeonholed by this, so-called government, corporatocracy, as I call it, that restricts and tells you do this, you can't do that, you can't go there, you need this to go there, do this, do that, blah, 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 right? And so suddenly it's like this is it. And your life starts becoming wash, rinse, repeat. I mean, who would believe? I sitting around playing solitaire on a computer, not the computer, like I said, I'm laying back on TV at the end of the day, laying back in my bed and with the TV, because I use the TV for YouTube and apps and stuff. These trucks. You can't hear them because this mic is directional, but they're loud. Even though I'm wearing full earphones, they're loud. They shake the house too. But I was telling somebody who worked, a bureaucrat yesterday, trying to deal with an issue. And this woman, she said, well, contact the city, the city manager office, carbon copy them and other people about this. I said, did you ever try, getting dealing with City Hall? That's like the worst bureaucracy in the world. They don't give a crap. Those trucks. It's a train. Man. I was thinking, every day that I do these shows, it gets closer to this so-called 2030. It's May 3rd, right? So we're almost halfway through 2022 already. Do you see what I mean? This stuff they're talking about, it ain't going to happen, man. It ain't going to happen. Their time's running out. It's like the people who are talking about saving this whole thing. It's like, it's not going to happen. People get in. By the time they settle in, they try this, they try that. They get shot down here. It doesn't work. You're right. Things get delayed, go through court systems. The next thing you know. I mean, it's all just one big game. I was watching stuff. What I watched yesterday? I'll tell you. I'm not going to get into this too much. I was watching because I was curious. This is from a long time ago, like people that I had subscribed to. I had subscribed to some Russian girl because I was curious about like everyday life in Russia. This is years ago I subscribed to it. It was somebody who was traveling around Russia. She was Russian, but she spoke English, and I think she went to school in the U.S. and for a couple of years. But I mean, she traveled. She's one of these people who worldly traveled, but not necessarily like as if she was some aristocrat or, somebody well-to-do. Just somebody who did that, an adventurer. I was an adventurer when I was younger, And so she has this vlog type of thing. And so now with things going on, and she was talking yesterday about how these various sanctions and what the average person, thinks and stuff like that. And then because I watched that, if you understand how YouTube works, then I might have went and played, solitaire for a while. And then was bored with that and went back to watching YouTube. And so on my recommended list, suddenly, more trucks, there was this about 3 or 4 different people talking about Russia, right? Some guy who was interviewing the average like younger Russian on the street and asking them what they thought of, Putin and stuff like that and the war and things. And most of them were like, yeah, they didn't think it was cool and, or blah, 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 et cetera. But they were mixed in their feelings towards the guy in the sense saying they said, well, he did good to pull the country together and as a leader was a strong leader, but they were against this thing and like, I think basically it's kind of like what's happened in this country. I said this it was actually a title, I think, of one of my shows, is that the ruling elite has just gotten too old. And it's not that you shouldn't respect your elders, so to speak. I mean, the older you are, if you lived any kind of life, you have wisdom to impart, to share with people. And that's what we should be doing. We should be taking that knowledge and learning from the past and learning from people who have already experienced stuff. So we don't just keep wash, rinse, and repeating. All right. So that's how people seem to be split on that. And then there were some other things that just showed the country, and the streets and the shops and the places. And a lot of people in this country don't understand, because like guys like me who've traveled around, well, not only some countries are just kind of cleaner and architecturally better looking than the average place here, right? And that's not to be down on the country, you know what I mean, or anything. I'm just saying, we don't, the people, our ruling elite, don't take pride in city development, architectural, functionality, and, functional engineering, that kind of thing. It's like, it's a mishmash of like, let's see how much, let's put up as many buildings as we can to make money on the rentals and projects and do this and not worry about the street lights and crosswalks and somebody trying to make it across the street. There's places in this country, all over this country, every city's got them, where you can't even cross the street because some city planner, some developer, some city architect, engineer, whatever, last thing on their mind was the concern of, like I always say, is the quality of life of the individual that they're building the street for or the crosswalk or whatever. Never even crossed their mind. They don't care. I don't live here. I don't care. Never even crossed their mind that someone might want to be getting across the street, or that a woman might be pushing a stroller across the street, right? And you got these like trucks like that coming, barrel assing down. There should be a red light out there, but there should be, or one of those flashing yellow ones that means slow down, because the speed limit's 25, and these things are going up at like 50, 60 miles an hour. But anyway, Russia is a pretty neat country. It's got some nice places. I said when I was in Australia years ago, and that was a long, long time ago, and I came back and I used to tell people, I said, you should see, it's like way more modern than we are here. And people would look at me like I was being weird. I said, no, they have these neat little tiny light switches, and their toilets flush. They're just push button toilets, and the streets are real clean, and people are really friendly, and they've got over top of their sidewalks, they have like awnings because it rains a lot, so you never get wet. You can just park your car, get out of your car. Hardly need an umbrella. It's like the streets are like malls almost in Sydney, in certain places. People are looking at me like, so what? Show off or something, That people are idiots. So I stopped talking about it. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been back to Sydney. I haven't been there in 30 years. I know they got their share of problems, though, as far as their government's concerned. But, all this stuff in the aggregate, as I say, it's pathetic. So, but anyway, so then there was this guy, getting back to this, finish this TV thing I was doing, watching YouTube, the recommended list, because I had watched this girl's video that they decided to throw a bunch of Russian type of, people talking about Russian things in my recommended list. And so there was this other guy who was kind of like a young guy, just a guy in his 20s or something like that, maybe 30, who was like somehow into military strategies and stuff like that, and historically knew things. It was like comparing to like a Battle of Kursk in 1943 and stuff like that. I mean, this guy was into interesting stuff, and he was trying to show what was going on and how, the mistakes and the mismoves, and he pulling up maps and had graphics on them and stuff. I mean, he spent some time putting this video together. It was pretty weird. And very enlightening, and something that nobody in the U.S. and the news media or anybody around here has even considered, right? And it was a whole different story, right? And it's just like, even if you watch Sky News, or if you, like these stories that just vanish because they've now we've got this, whatever, the Ministry of Truth thing, which has basically already been in effect on, social media for a long time. But there's like nobody really talking about the big picture and like what's going on over there. People don't talk about the war-profiteers. People don't talk about the potential of allowing this to happen to hide evidence by this organized crime family that's in the big house in Washington, D.C. And then they're probably still, the guy's probably still in it for kickbacks out of that $33 million they want to send over there. Nobody's talking about the biolabs. You know what I mean? It's like all this stuff. But then again, nobody's talking about the strategy and the purpose and what's going on and what led up to this and how it could have been prevented and why it's not being stopped just from diplomatic, channels and all that stuff. It's like, it's just out of control situation that they're just throwing money to enrich military contractors and to hide, destroy a country and people's lives to protect some guy in office who doesn't even know his own name, to hide evidence. And then who knows what these government agencies were doing with these labs, because that's whole part of that thing. And the World Economic Forum's probably got a hand in it, and WHO, that new partnership, and get ready for something to come down the pike this fall. And I guess we're all waiting for, what is it, May 6th or May 9th? I don't know. And they have that annual thing in Moscow or something. So we may find out, what's going on. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But, I mean, that's just one example of just the madness that goes on. The utter madness.
This is insane.
But yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, just strong black coffee. Yeah, I tried putting these sticky things out to catch these little rodents. So I think what they did is they did have some babies. And I plugged up a hole underneath this tree, which is this little tiny dwarf, like Christmas tree type of thing, which is going to die because they dug under it 2 different times. I'm liable to go out there this morning, and see another hole there. Because when I was walking around it, I was trying to fill the hole with dirt, hoping that, that it would, and I even put some liquid, what do you call it? Plant food type of stuff in there, to nurture this thing, right? Because an evergreen won't die instantly. It takes time to die. It won't turn brown right away. But I think they killed it. Just too bad. It was a good place for it. And I always wanted to have one of those in the yard. So I'll probably find another hole under there. But a third hole will mean they will have eaten through whatever remaining root was left to it. But when I was standing around it trying to compress the dirt that I put in, I was like sinking a little bit. So they had that whole thing open. These are rats are subterranean creatures, in case you never saw the show before. I'm talking about rats, man.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
That's right.
This is a nightmare. Must be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with. Go look at yesterday's show, the title card. You'll understand the absurdity of this whole thing. But I moved on, and like I said, I messed with my garden. I have a plan now, if it works. So I planted catnip at some key positions. Hopefully it'll take. It's supposed to be delivered today. Of course, I won't use it today because it's going to rain. I probably won't use it this week because I don't want it to wash away. But I ordered this. If you watch yesterday's show, I ordered some catnip spray. And what I'm trying to do, and I still have some catnip growing in my, which I give my cat. It's growing in my little porch. It's It's the mud room, really. That's all it is. It's just a walkway from the backyard to the kitchen, but there's a little thing. And I have a window there and some grow lights on it. And I've been keeping that plant like renewing itself, reseeding it, and I put fresh, soil and, like I say, plant food and stuff in there, and it's just keep regenerating itself for about 5 years, and I guess it could go on indefinitely as long as you keep putting, fertilizer in there and, whatever. It's a fairly big pot. But, it looks like there's parts of it going to seed, which is good, and I'll try to plant those seeds in and see if I can grow some more. And if not, just buy cat seed. And the idea is to have catnip growing along my entire one side of my... Actually, I might as well do both sides. But catnip growing over the entire length, 100 feet of catnip along my fence. 100 feet. So that even if a couple of cats go wild, so I try to, chew it all up, they could never... Because it grows back fairly fast. That they could never get it all, but that it'll attract them. And if it attracts cats, then and rats. That's part one. See, I'm trying to come up with humane solutions, right? The rats see the cats and they go hide. Because I know that they're partially, there's a couple in the neighbor's yard next door, and there's a couple in the yard next to the neighbor down one further. So they're not in my yard. And so if the cat, if I've got the cats there, that start coming in, and then what I want to do with my garden to keep the cats out of the garden and the rats out of the garden is I want to, those wavy plastic things. Let's go to Home Depot and look at this stuff. New window, Home Depot. I can't afford anything right now. Oh, come on. Okay. Google makes money on this because I clicked on this link. Clear plastic. Yeah, you can have my location. I don't really care. Then, yeah. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. Clear plastic panels. See if they have the things I'm talking about. Can you do that, please? Here we go. This is what I want. It's what I want. All right. Now the question is, let's look at the cheapest one. That's by 8 foot, 6 foot, $23. Why would one that's 6 foot be more expensive than 8 foot? 26 inches, same width. See, I need something that's like 6 foot because when I do have the money to get some of these things, well, let's just look at this thing and see what the deal is. Do they give you a bunch of them? Let's see. $23.49. Impact resistant, blocks UV. View more details. Lifetime warranty, blocks, blah, blah, blah. Get everything you need. It can't be $23 for one of these. Item. $23 for one? That's what it looks like, doesn't it? You gotta be kidding me. It's only 6 feet long. It's insane. bestseller is like, well, it's a 12-footer. Corrugated plastic sheet, 18 by 24. Maybe I should just get something like that. See, this is all I'm really looking for, is that. I mean, this shows you, as an example. But I mean, $35 there. And it's like quantity. This one, $50, delivery free. 36 inches by 48 inches. Why would you pay $50 for that? No wonder it's free delivery, for crying out loud. This can't even be true, right? Plastic roof panels. Just click again here just to see. That's it. 32 in stock. $18 for an 8-foot piece. Aisle 22. Scheduled. I'm going to charge you $79 to deliver it to your house. Man. That is insane. That is frickin' insane. So, my idea isn't to build this. It's basically to take, I only need like 3 feet, so I need something to cut it. It has to be something I could fit in a regular vehicle. So, because I don't want to get delivery. So I would have to buy, I guess if I bought 4 of these, I could get 8 3-footers out of it. For $100, so it'd be like $100, at least $100 with tax. About $100 with tax. Anyway, that's my plan. You see how expensive everything is? That's insane. There's no reason that they should cost that much money. But I thought if I put those around my garden, the sunlight gets in, and if they're at least 3 feet high, the rats aren't going to get up there. I don't need a roof over top of it. They're not going to climb up, And if I have to, I'll spray, some kind of like a lubricant spray. So because I was going to do that. I did that. I put some linseed oil on my bird feeder the one day, the wood, and where the rats were crawling up into the bird feeder and it couldn't make it up. But that wood is so dried out, I've got to add some more linseed oil. But what I really need to do is find a lubricant stuff. They have them too. Like a spray lubricant that's non-toxic, to the plants, but that is highly, will stay there. And so if a thing even thinks about trying, well, I don't know how it could climb up smooth plastic to begin with, right? I mean, worst comes to worst, Like I said, I don't want to put just like industrial grease or something that's going to like get into the ground and, be toxic to my plants. But I'll have to find a non-toxic lubricant. And so I'll take one of my, did laundry yesterday. The white handkerchief is now once again cleaned. So I could do this on the air. Live show. Unedited. So yeah, that's my plan. Put so much catnip out that and to attract cats, and then put clear plastic around my beds my raised beds where I have my key food that I eat every day so that they can't get in, and continue to put food in the bird feeder. And if they go to the bird feeder, if there's still something happening over there, then they still have that point of focus. It's a three-pronged approach. That's my plan. But the plastic is my contingency plan. Because sooner or later, this fruit, vegetables and fruit are going to start ripening, and they're going to give off the smell of food. Right? Right now, the smell of food is the bird feeder that's drawing their little noses. Is that a good rat face? Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I've been doing and talking about for the past couple of months on this. Maybe 2. I don't know. I don't know when they started appearing. It's daylight outside, almost 6 a.m. Truck's still coming. My lights are flashing, or they just gave their last big flash. I think you just missed it. I caught it. There it is. Anyway, another day, just another day. Camera 2 view outside. I'm playing solitaire in the afternoons. That's how bored I am. Playing solitaire. Get up in the morning, wash, rinse, repeat. Right? Groomed myself. And I'm not wearing any of my clothing line today. Not even a game over hat. I could have put that on. Just put the old Steelers hat on. That's how I started this thing, because I used to go to a bar where they were all Steeler fans. When I lived in this other town not too far from here, right? About 45 minutes. Depends on how, like I said, how fast you drive, whatever. I have no way of getting there because I don't drive anymore. I gave it up. I let my license expire, and why? Why pay the money? I wasn't using the car. Why pay insurance? Upkeep. Friend of mine has a car. It's in the shop right now. It's crazy. Should I clip my nails while I continue with the show? I don't know. It's hard to say what to do. Yeah, I'm going crazy, man. I'm going crazy.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I just was saying I'm going crazy. It's wash, rinse, repeat. I miss going to the bars. I miss drinking. I miss, conversation even. But, I don't, it's not like the phone is an answer. See, technology for all its the great things about it. And look at me, I'm Mr. Technology, right? Who has, this is Geekland, the show, right? Who does this stuff? Goes through all has all this kinds of weird stuff,
Brilliant!
I mean, a lot. Camera 2. I'll probably, like I say, if I keep doing this, I'll have a camera 3 figured out to have a live view of the backyard, right? Because I'd love to see what's going on at the birdhouse right now. But it's just not the same. As being there next to a person or sitting in the same room and just having a conversation, right? Or sitting next to somebody at the old classic bar. There's something about live presence, seeing, and, even FaceTime, that doesn't work. You say you want to look into somebody's eyes or see their eyes, see the expression on their face. But, the way the cameras are set up, it's like, you can't. it's weird, and people are like looking, off in the it's not, it's, the technology is just not there. And that's why the metaverse is a waste of time, because that's their whole idea, is being there in the room, right? Avatar or photorealistic super AI, clone of yourself still doesn't replace the idea of just impromptu being there, hanging out, and another random person coming in, to the situation, a conversation. So technology can't replace real social interaction. And there's no way, I don't care, people out there spinning their brains or whatever, you're not going to come up with the solution. It's everything you're doing is counter to social interaction. That's why the Twitter thing, I think the biggest blunder, the biggest waste of money, which would go down in history if history were to continue, but this whole civilization, Western civilization's collapsed, or collapsing. It's being held together by strings, It's like a house of cards, you know what I mean? This Klondike solitaire thing, is apropos. Western civilization's falling apart, but if it wasn't, this Elon Musk buying Twitter would go down as the biggest, grandiose waste of $50 billion, like the most expensive waste of money in the history of mankind, right? There's been some colossal blunders out there, right, where people have, spent unbelievable amounts of money on things that have, were useless, served no purpose, and were just total, ridiculous. But nothing to the tune of $50 billion for something that doesn't even exist. Think about that. Twitter doesn't really exist. I mean, he did buy they have an office building and servers. They probably use some servers too. I don't know if they are 100% in control. It's like the CIA even uses Amazon servers for some of their, right? Their, overflow work and stuff, right? For their stuff. The NSA, all these places, they all contract out, right? That's why that's how you have military contractors. Like the government doesn't even make its own frickin' stuff. It contracts it out. And the contractors have subcontractors. So, how much physical did he didn't buy $50 billion for what? For nothing. Right? For code. A very simplistic code. Like I said, I invented Twitter myself back in the 90s. A version of it that I was using on one of my personal websites. The code for it is pretty much it's just basic HTML and PHP server side type of response type of thing. It's not really complex. It's just a matter of the more users you get, the more storage, the more, you need. And then if you're involved in information gathering, and then you've got to add an added feature of, just added features, put it that way, then you add to the complexity of that, right? But in and upon itself, it's nothing. It's just basically someone typed something, like I said, I remember I had it. It was like you typed in your thing. There was a box. People could reply. People could upload an image. And then there could be a thread. It could be continued. In the 90s, I did that. I wrote that code. I had that code written myself because it was in other words, it was within the ability of just early HTML and, like I say, early server code. It wasn't. There was no complication there. It was almost. It's like open source, I guess you would call it in today's world, right? Twitter's primarily open source. That's why I used to always criticize Facebook. I used to say Facebook is really just one page, one website, duplicated, right? And then goes through various complexities as they add more and more, nonsense to it, and it gets bigger and bigger and more users. You need more server space, blah, blah, blah. But in and upon itself, when you looked at Facebook and Twitter, and I always used to laugh at that as a guy who used to be into code in the earlier days. And I used to say, Facebook is one website, just, wash, rinse, repeat, repeat it. And Twitter was like nothing. $50 billion for, code, typed letters, right? And numbers. For people to, excuse me, and it's still, no matter what they do, still is going to be primarily controlled with AI bots, right? Because the AI gets more and more sophisticated in its ability to mask itself as a human. Department of Education admits that, major chunk of people are functionally illiterate in this country, right? They graduate high school, they can't really, they have like little or no reading skills, which means writing as well. There's a cold truck. See, now you're getting a chance to see them in living color. Look at those things. Yeah, heavy trucks. Got no business being in a neighborhood street either. But yeah, so the whole thing is it's kind of laughable in a sense, the way what's transpired. It's laughable. But when you go to Twitter every day, it's wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same old thing every day. And that's what I'm trying to say. People have gotten into their daily routine. You hear that word. I mean, it's not like this is new. It's just that your daily routine has become like kind of, you're forced into it more so. So you don't have that opportunity for variety as the spice of life, right? Freedom of travel is no longer an option in many cases. I would say in most cases. When I wanted to travel around, prices of fuel were cheap, air travel was cheap, getting a visa was easy. Going to a foreign country, the U.S. dollar was worth more money. I remember going to Australia. It was like when you cash in your American Express traveler's checks, you'd get more money back. I came back with I had X amount of money. First time I went, I expected to spend X amount of money, and I came back with more. Not more, but I mean, I had more money, and I had money that I didn't expect to come home with. I thought I would have spent it there. But, and I just got in my car and traveled around the United States, stopped at roadside places when you could stay in motels for $19.95 a night. Right? What's changed? Some of those old motels are still there. They probably still smell the same. Right? They probably have the same old sheets. Right? The rug. Right? Some shag rug. But now they're charging like $129.95 a night for a dump. You stay in a good motel, it's $200, $300. You pay $400 a night in a hotel these days. And that's not even, we're not talking 4 or 5 stars in the cities. So you don't have freedom of movement. Like I said, the social clubs have all but disappeared in most towns. They're still in some areas. But in most areas, you don't have social clubs. The bars have pretty much gone out of business, right? You know, they've thinned out big time, right? So they're still there, but they've thinned out. It's not the same, you know? There's not that corner bar. The guy couldn't afford it, or the guy died. He got old, died, nobody took it over, blah, blah, blah. Right? So that's not there. So you don't have that thing. You don't have the neighborhood bar. Plural, right? You know, ones that different people, different strokes for different folks, you know, places where you can hang out with, you know, it's like, you know, I like the crowd at this place better. I like the jukebox at that place better, you know, type of thing. Forget that. You got a choice of one or two if you're lucky, right? And it's the same with everything else. You know, you could talk about it. You know, it's like churches and stuff like that. You know, people don't. You know, at one time everybody went to, you know, some kind of service. You know, and there's some areas where they have these mega churches and everybody goes and does that. You know, but I mean, you know, generally speaking, this is a giant, big country with, you know, 10,000s of cities, boroughs, townships, you know, whatever. 330 million plus people. And, you know, and less and less and less chances to get physically social. And so life has become wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same old thing every frickin' day. Downright boring. And so no wonder politics has become pop culture, right? Because people they don't know what else to talk about. People are afraid to talk about love, things like that, right? You know, and then they change, you know, and they changed everything's got some kind of like ideological narrative, you know, they're trying to shove something down somebody's throat as far as a lifestyle or something like that. So, you know, it's hard. You have to you search for something that you like because they're pushing, it's like there's the predominant society, predominant ideology has like overtaken the entertainment industry, right? And the news everything to do, the broadcast industry. So you don't even have that as something, so you end up playing solitaire. I can't believe it. I actually found, I never knew this because it's not like I'm some big solitaire guy. This is the funniest thing about this. I don't mind talking about this. Oh, by the way, yeah. Where is this?
Another hour.
I know it cuts off real quick, but it's another hour. But I was saying, I'm not a solitaire person, never really was. Played the game a few times over the years, you know. But I mean, you know, I just figured, you know, I just didn't even think about it. Okay, you know, I mean, I played chess a little bit. I had computer chess. I'd rather play computer chess with or used to in the older days when I first had my computer. I'd be more likely to play chess than solitaire. But anyway, I discovered because out of my boredom that there's actually strategies in solitaire. I can't believe it. I mean, there's things you can do. And, you know, when it looks like, you know, when normally I would in the past go, well, I guess that game's over. Time to reshuffle the cards and play again. And it's like, no, there's options you have, you know, which are within the rules of the game, you know. So you can sometimes take if you've got a card hidden somewhere, you can take a card, you know, move the 4 from one area to another to bring the other down and do this. There's actually a strategy, and I've won that way. I've won games, and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I've actually figured out there's a strategy to winning solitaire. Oh, save me, right? Wash, rinse, repeat, you know? And everybody's lives are like that. Today's garbage day. I hope they picked up my garbage. They threw out some stuff from the back. But there was stuff I couldn't get up, but I'm trying to clean the place up to make. I still have to I can't do it today because it's supposed to rain today. Like I said, I don't know. When is it going to do that? When's that supposed to start? Not yet. It looks like it's going to be an afternoon thing, maybe. I'm looking at it. It's going to be 72 degrees today. It's a pity it's not going to be a sunny day. 70 and 72, man, I've already got a base. You can't tell because I have the saturation down on this because the quality of the replay is better if it's not too much color. But man, I could get a suntan on a 72 sunny day if I were out in the sun for about an hour or so around prime time. Not that it matters, you know. What good is good? What good is it, right? You know, that's that whole thing, the concept of vanity and even dressing up and stuff. It's like, you know, I've got decent clothes and stuff laying around, and I end up wearing the same stuff most of the time. I got nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Same old thing. Wash, rinse, repeat. Can't even, you know, I'm currently not subscribed to anything. The only thing I have is Amazon Prime because of the free shipping. And I do use it because I'm always it's the thing I use to get the stuff that I can't get elsewhere. They're trying hard to get, I'm getting the emails from Netflix. But it's like, that's too screwed up. HBO, man, they're over the top. If they bring Westworld back, I'll subscribe, for that month or two to watch Westworld. That's like the only show I think I like on HBO. Stars had that American Gods thing. I think that show ended. So I subscribed to them once or twice to watch that. I just had Paramount because I was watching Picard. But that runs out tomorrow, I think. And I'm not sure if Picard comes out on Wednesday or not. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to catch the end of the series. I'm not going to pay it's like $19.95 a month. So I'm not going to pay. I did the trial thing, but I'm not going to pay $19.95. $20. That's just ridiculous. And I know in the grand scheme of things, they try to say, well, if you go to a movie today, it costs you $20 and we'll have it. We have a couple of movies. Yeah, a year, not every month. It used to be HBO every Saturday night was a brand new movie, like a new movie that was worth watching. But first run movies now are garbage. So it's like, no, it's not like a deal to pay these exorbitant fees. And it's the same with all these other shows, these other ones, Hulu, I got the Roku app on my Fire TV, and I've watched a couple Rockford Files. But, you got to watch it. There's a couple commercial breaks in there, and I hate commercials. The commercials aren't that bad, but then again, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not really totally in. I mean, it's just like, sometimes it's neat to just watch some of those old shows like Rockford or something. I was watching Perry Mason's. I watched one yesterday. Might have watched two of them. They were well done shows. I mentioned that in the past. But, it's nothing I could really get into, like, binge watching and, like, watching them every day. Even though a lot of those shows had so many seasons, you could watch them for a couple of months if you wanted to. Excuse me. Yeah, so, boredom. So, variety is the spice of life. The search for, this is what I'm searching for. Searching for, is it possible, or am I doomed to be, to wash, rinse, repeat? And, while I'm still in like fairly good shape, looking half decent, right? Mobile, able to walk and do things. It's like I feel like it's just wasted years. Because as time goes by, you just, you inevitably just have you age and you can't do this, that, the other, and blah, blah, blah. And I just feel like it's a waste, And this inflation and stuff, and so you have these little hobbies. So you try to create a variety of life, spice of life. And they want to charge you $23 for like a one sheet, one 26-inch wide sheet of plastic. What the? Right? $79 minimum delivery fee. See, that's what I'm trying to say, It's like, and there's some people who might laugh at this and go, well, like, I don't know. That sounds like a good, you could probably do that for a couple $100. You could probably shore up your beds and, solve a lot of your problems. Yeah, but I don't have a couple $100 to waste. You don't see anybody buying my Then What book or my Then What hoodie or the Be Nice shirt or any of that. Or buying books or listening to my music. I get the reports. I don't, there's zero. Right? Zero viewers. YouTube is hiding me. There's 2 billion active users. All right? Just hit no data, it says. But the kilobytes per second was at 2,900, Just because I mentioned their name, that's their way of saying, watch it now. Take care. Right? Don't go there. Prison planet, right? It's what it is. It's a prison planet. It's a prison planet for anybody who's, look at that. Look at the size of those frickin' trucks. Just think about that. That's your car. That's your electric car. Right? That's your heat. Pepsi. Get advertisements. Right? I guess they're on to the fact that this show's broadcast live to 1 million people. So they just got their $1 million ad. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I guess I'll keep doing this for a while. I don't know. For some reason, I keep coming up with some kind of graphic, and it makes sense, and it's like, a theme. It works. It fits. It's apropos, at least to me. And there's got to be a lot of people like me out there. It's just, that's why it's a crime that they're hiding this show. Because I'm sure there's tons of people who are experiencing what I'm experiencing and have the same attitude, right? I can't be the only one, right? That there's zero concurrent viewers, 0 views of a show live at 6:22 a.m. While other guys, there's guys who do shows at midnight, and and I see the replay of it, and at midnight there's people tuning in and 3 a.m. and stuff, and they're getting thousands of views. And their show isn't like half, not even a tenth of produced like mine is, right? Poor graphics, right? None of all this crazy stuff. They didn't write 10 books or 50 songs, right? They don't have all this crazy stuff.
It's the best. New. Real. Cool.
Not even.
Your papers, please.
Not even that. They don't even have sound effects or themes or anything like that. They got nothing. They don't even have a good set. Or the ones who do are the YouTube millionaires, and they're all tied into some system, and all they do is like just show what mainstream media or cable TV or the newspapers, they just hold up their stuff on the screen and talk about it. Right? They have no not original content like I do today. I mean, today's an original. It's like this is like a truly original show, right? This is took a little. There's the garbage man. Took a little bit of an idea and just something different to think about. Originality. They don't have that. Let's see if this guy's going to grab my bags. Pro Disposal. That's the company. They're walking. They stopping? It's hard to say. I think so. Hopefully. They're running a little late. Anyway, it's always nice to know the garbage is gone. With the cat not eating as much food as it used to eat, though, I have to wrap it up, and my garbage, tends to have a fishy smell to it. I've got to spray Lysol in it. I have a garbage can with the closes down, but still I end up putting the stuff in plastic bags with twist ties on it, the stuff he doesn't eat, so it doesn't smell. It's crazy. Just another thing. Wash, rinse, repeat. Well, that's it. Drank my coffee, Good
morning.
Good morning, people. Right? Don't forget to visit my site, Tony Caravan Live, ROCKFLUX.com. Same thing. Grab the Be Nice shirt. Mess with people. Right? Game over. Everything you know is wrong. You don't know what you don't know. Then what? Which also is the title of my latest book. Flow of Consciousness. Get the print version. Codex, the book prior to that, deals with the hard problem of consciousness and AI, way ahead of its curve. The curve, I should say. And then Great Solar Stuff, of course, is more than solar stuff. It's got power backup. Over 50 songs to listen to anywhere music is played, whether it's your voice assistant or Spotify or even on YouTube. You hear a song you don't like, listen to another one, because I guarantee there's several dozen of my songs that deserve to be on the charts. There's some that suck. Anyway, that's it. Have a great day. Good luck. I hope your life isn't as boring as mine. Wash, rinse, repeat. Take care.